Hello, and welcome back to the Write Your Path podcast. My name is Lolly Spindler. I'm a writer, editor, book doula, and writing coach. And today we have on my dear friend Nadine Abdallah. She is another badass businesswoman and entrepreneur. She is also an incredible operations and strategy lady and a community activist. And Nadine does something really well that is hard to find, which is she really blends her activism into her career and her professional life in a way like I've never seen it before. So, welcome, Nadine.
Thanks, Lolly. I'm so happy to be here. And what an intro. Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about your path to here. We both live in Mexico City together. We met
4 years ago?
4 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
So I just want to hear about, you're from Canada, you're Palestinian. What are the things that traversed through your life that brought you to this moment, living in Mexico City, doing the work that you do?
Oh, man. What a good question. Great story. I was born in Canada, like you said, Palestinian. I grew up in a very predominantly white Italian neighborhood. So I always felt like I needed to get out of Woodbridge, where I grew up, which actually really informed a lot of how I move. And I grew up in a household where my mom's a badass. You've met my mom. We've had the pleasure of meeting each other's parents. And I grew up in a really socially aware household. So I don't know what conversations you were having as a kid, but we were talking about like imperialism at the kitchen table. And like my dad would be teaching us algebra. And I always felt bigger than Woodbridge. So I went away to school. I majored in political science and Indigenous rights.
Love.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then my mom was like, I did not come to Canada for you to be a struggling activist, so figure it out. So then I went to business school, which was hilarious and kind of jarring, you know, to go from like having conversations about social justice and like disenfranchised populations and equity denied voices to like learning about like free cash flows in business class.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was wild. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it was like the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I felt like super incongruent.
Yeah.
But it opened a lot of doors for me, which was great. And then I ended up starting my career in consulting. I got a job coming out of school. And like, kind of conflicting to say, but I loved it. I loved it and I hated it. Like, I loved it because I was working on big problems with really cool individuals that were smart and like changing their industries. And then at the same time, I'm like, I'm just making rich organizations richer. Yeah. So it was like very conflicting with my personality and my values. And then I got this amazing opportunity to lead our pro bono practice in consulting. Yeah. So I had some good mentors that were like, hey, you're struggling here. You're excelling, but you're struggling personally.
Yeah.
Why don't you reallocate capital into women entrepreneurs, migrants, refugees, Indigenous rights? And I loved that.
That's amazing.
And it was awesome. And then I was tired because I was working 100-hour weeks.
Oh my God.
And
how long did you do that for?
8 years.
Holy shit.
I know, it was crazy.
100-hour weeks for 8 years?
Yeah, it was crazy. But I had an opportunity to take a leave of absence. I was going to leave. I had some amazing mentors. I was like, I'm leaving and I'm going to Latin America. I booked the cheapest flight out. It was to Colombia. And I loved it. It was dope. I like learned a lot. It was my first backpacking trip. I went to Peru, Guatemala, and then I had a layover in Mexico City. And I fell in love with Mexico City.
Oh my God.
And then it took me a while to get here because I went back to Accenture and I was like, I'm moving to Mexico City. Bye. And they were like, you just got promoted. You have shit to do here, all this stuff. And eventually I got here and I found a job here, which was more like congruent and aligned, and I was seeking congruence. And I kind of make like big swings. I'm not like a edge into things. I'm like, quit your job, move another country, learn a language, all that stuff. So I did that, and I was an Indigenous rights organization that helped with like empowerment in artisanal communities, and I loved it.
Amazing. What was that one called?
Someone Somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a
That's
great
based
company.
Here, or is that based?
Based in Mexico City.
Okay,
and then I was able to like go to Indigenous communities and parts of Mexico that people don't get a lot of access to.
Yeah. And
I learned Spanish, and it was awesome. And then I was staying too long at that party, so I had to leave. Yeah. You know, nothing good happens after 1 a.m. So I had to go. And
what was your sign that it was time to leave that role?
I think what I learned at Accenture was listening to my body a bit more. And like when you're acting incongruently, you feel it in your body. Like I was not well physically.
We were talking recently about shingles because I had a shingle scare. So we were talking about how many times Nadine saw people with shingles at Accenture.
A lot of people at Accenture had shingles.
That's crazy. It's like your body's screaming for like, we're out of alignment. Please help us.
And I don't think you're like taught that in life.
No.
That your body holds stress and this mind-muscle connection, and like my whole body was attacking me, and I'm like, something's incongruent here.
Yeah. And
then I was having conversations that no longer were empowering, which they were at the beginning, and instead draining. So I'm like, I really need to leave this party. Like, it's too late. I'm the last one here. And I'm glad I made that decision. And it was at a time where, you know, full-blown genocide in Palestine. So I was having a hard time masking that incongruence in the workplace. And so I had to leave. And I just took like a little bit of a career break. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to figure out what it means to be aligned, what it means to be congruent. And I just used that inertia to go full force into Palestine. So I was unemployed for a while, working just in community organizing. We started a Palestinian collective here called Beitna, which means our home in Arabic. And that really like got me through to become a little bit more congruent. Yeah. And then on the back burner, I had so many projects that we've talked about that I wanted to do. So I was like, let me use this rest while still resisting to like figure out other things. So
and get your body like back into alignment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it took a while. It took 14 months for me to be like a little bit more aligned. Yeah. But
well, if you're go for like 10 years, right?
Yeah. And you don't realize it.
Yeah. And then you finally stop, it like all catches up to you.
Totally. And it caught up to me big time. And I was like, I just need to decompress, figure out what this looks like, be more congruent, seeking congruence. That's my favorite word. And then I went back to Palestine. If you haven't noticed. Should I do like a shot every time I say congruent? But I went back to Palestine. That was really healing for me.
That's amazing.
And confronting. Yeah. And then I was like, I just need to make sure that all of my income is ethical income. Mm-hmm. And so I spent a lot of time just rebuilding, like using what I learned in consulting, really anchoring back to my indigenous rights background and in like political science before business, and then all the amazing people that inspire me to just like follow my path.
And to write your path.
And to write my path. Shameless plug. You being one of them for sure. We've talked about this so many times. Like for those that don't know, Lolly and I have like a conquer your goals in our calendar every Tuesday. We do. But yeah, so now I spent the last 10 months really reorienting. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel good about it. All my income is ethical. It's aligned to who I am. It's like the best I've ever felt in a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a long answer to
how'd
you get here?
That's what we want. We want to know. So what were like the parameters you put out there when you were looking for ethical income and a job that felt more aligned with your values?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I am really focused on Palestine. Mm-hmm. So like I didn't want to work for organizations that supported the Zionist state, that invested in Zionism, that supported any harm. So like indigenous communities, organizations that were aligned to LGBTQ+. Like there are so many things that are interconnected in terms of those movements. So that was the first one. The second one was I really wanted location freedom. Mm-hmm. So that's what's like ethical to me or like important to me. And I wanted to be able to afford myself that. Yeah. And then I just wanted to work with really smart, caring people. Yeah. Like people that I could not only talk to at the water cooler, which we rarely do in remote work anyways. Yeah. But I wanted to work with people that had similar values to me. And so I actually would take all interviews like from my house with my Palestinian art in the background. And I'm like, are you a person that I can jive with? Because you can easily see on the other side. Do they ask a question that's a little bit ignorant? Do they ask a question that's actually oppressive? Are they vibing with your energy? And that was like a good barometer for me.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it was a good
I wonder what people think with my pinata in my background.
Well, if they don't like it, then you're not meant to work there.
I should have something more activist in my background.
Well, you have my pinata. Your little stuffed penis.
I do have a stuffed penis.
There's a couple things in this room that people can like really align to. So it's a beautiful room. But yeah, it was more that. So
I love that idea.
I think you should absolutely do it. It's just a very good like vibe check.
Yeah, that's very true.
Are we on the same vibe or are we not?
Without even having to say anything.
Totally.
It's so like, subtle and powerful.
Some interviews, like, I remember I had an interview and at the end of the interview, the guy was like, just so you know, we don't care about like human rights.
Oh.
Yeah. And I could tell by your background that you do. And I was like,
wait.
This is
Wait, what?
Like, he's like, this is a business and we care about like the bottom line.
But you have humans working for your company, correct? Are you all robots? Or how do you not care about human rights if there are humans running the business?
It was really jarring.
Oh my God.
But I was like, thank goodness he told me that.
Yeah.
Because I thought we were vibing. And then at the end, he just pulled that on me. And I was like, vibe check, you're not the person I want to work with. And this was like a person of color, someone I was vibing with, and it really rocked me. But I was like, hey, thank God for that background.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So those were the barometers and kind of how I tested it.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. I can't imagine like talking to someone interviewing for a company and then them being like, by the way, we don't care about human rights at all. Be like, oh.
I was like, I cried after.
Great.
I'm like,
I am like as a queer woman and you as a woman of color, like, who do you think you're talking to?
Absolutely.
Especially if it's like an hour interview, you're like, why did we just waste each other's time?
Absolutely. And I just like, I was jarred because his identity, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at someone who is also a person of color and I was just confused by that. But we all have different contexts. We all have different ways of operating in this world. So I was like, thanks for letting me know after I cried to my mom, you know, I was like, what is this?
Yeah. You're like, what world do we live in?
Yeah. The world's crazy.
So tell me about your new role.
Yeah.
And how you are marrying your activism with your career and what that looks like for you today.
Yeah, for sure. My new role is I lead the Palestine movement on chef.org, which is a crowdfunding platform that is dedicated to solidarity movements.
Amazing.
Which is amazing. So they're based in Australia. I get to lead the movement to support families and organizations that wouldn't necessarily get institutional funding. So from like grants, and are just like people-powered grassroots movements, and I help galvanize awareness and find them some money to do what they're doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super special, and I get to talk to Palestinian families every single day.
Wow.
And like organizers on the ground that are doing cool stuff. And I also support the Abolish ICE movement, which is so important right now, and Sudan and trans rights. So it's been like so fulfilling, which is awesome. And I work with a team that is a group of organizers that we're grassroots organizers that are like, let me help these people find money, which is awesome.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it.
Yay. So you definitely feel more congruent now.
Definitely. At the same time, like I think marrying your like organizing and your causes into your work is such a privilege, and I really am so grateful for that. But it's also really hard because you don't have a break. Like when I was in corporate,
true.
Like you're like, I can work on this Excel for a while and then go back to my activism and then just have a little bit of space. But although I feel it congruent, it's been like tiring.
I'm sure. Because you're like in the fight 24/7.
Totally.
Instead of being able to like step out every now and then, you know, when you need to.
Totally.
Yeah, that's gotta be. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Really, oh yeah, true.
I was like,
I just want to be this role.
I want to be congruent. This is what congruence looks like, and it's exhausting. And I say that with extreme privilege and gratitude, but at the same time, like figuring out how you show up in this world is it's its own challenge. So something I'm working through.
So have you found a way to kind of recenter yourself when you do feel like it's getting too much?
Yeah, I think. I spend a lot of time working on my side projects now. So I'm trying to find that space to allow me to like show up more responsibly. So yeah, I'm working on my side projects, launching a business soon, which will be exciting. And that really gives me space to like recenter, reorient. And then at the same time, working in this space has allowed me to think of like things I want to bring into my business that are more ethical. And like,
I love that.
Yeah, how do I serve the right people and all those things.
It's like feeding both ways.
Totally.
Oh, I love that. So tell us more about your new business that is going to launch soon.
For sure. My new business is called Merge. It is a platform or application that allows for financial intimacy with partners. So how do you talk about money? What does money mean to you? How do you manage your life once you understand those values and find congruence?
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. Take a shot. For those listening. But how do you do that with partnership? Because it's so hard to go from one person to two or more.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's different types of relationships, and money is a strange thing where it's not actually money to you. It represents something else.
Yeah.
Like freedom or comfort or joy or security. And I don't think we think about that unless we're in partnership, really.
Yep.
Because you're forced to actually talk about those values as opposed to just do them for yourself. And the reason I started Merge is because financial issues were always a conversation in my family. Like my parents are immigrants from Palestine to Canada. I was privy to a lot of conversations I probably wasn't supposed to be privy to. And then in my long-term relationship, we had a lot of disagreements around money, but it had nothing to do with money. And so I wanted to like destigmatize that conversation.
Yeah.
And it often disenfranchises women more than it does men. And marginalized groups more than it does other people. Yeah. So I really wanted to hunker down on that issue, and not so much about money, but how do you talk about it? Yeah. How do you heal parts of that trauma that are shown to you in partnership? Yeah. So that launches February 14th, Valentine's Day. Woo! Yeah, so I'm excited. It'll be in beta, and yeah, we'll get some tests out there. We'll see how it does, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun to just like grow something. Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of the more like ethical considerations that you've learned from your activism that are now being imbued into this new business?
It's a really good question. The types of words and verbiage that are used.
Language is very powerful.
Language is super, and you know that as a writer, right? Yeah. Write your path. So
plug.
You gotta find ways to plug that in. Yeah, language is super important. Language is gendered, it's colonial, and I want this to be more accessible to all types of people to have these conversations, because I think these conversations are more important to those communities, like women, like marginalized populations. So language has been something that I've really looked at quite deeply. And in my initial questionnaire, because the way the application works is you understand your archetype financially. Like, who are you when it comes to money? It's kind of like a horoscope.
Yeah. I love money quizzes.
Money quizzes are so fun.
Money quizzes are great.
I used to do them a lot when I was in high school, you know?
Yeah. You've never done a money quiz, I'll link to some because they're very revealing.
They are. They're confronting. You're like, who am I? Oh, I'm this person.
Yeah. Because how you manage money can reveal a lot about yourself that you didn't really think about. Like, a lot of people are in scarcity. Some people are in, like, I'm an avoidant type when it comes to money.
You?
Yeah. So I have to put on my calendar once a week to check all of my bank accounts, because before I would never do that, because I would just be like, oh, it's fine, you know? And I'm like, no, I'm being avoidant. So literally now once a week I go in and I check all of my bank accounts. So like I'll plug in some money quizzes in here, because it's very good to know like how you view money energetically, because
absolutely,
then you can put like things in place to kind of, you know, keep yourself on track, like I do with my once a week reminder.
What does that do for you?
It just helps me be more aware of like where my money is going, and like if I need to move it around, whereas before like maybe once a month I would look at it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like forcing myself to have it on my calendar every single week. So I'm just like more aware of like, okay, Lolly, like you can't be avoidant anymore.
I love that habit. I love that awareness.
Yeah.
And I think we all lack that awareness when it comes to money, because you just view it as a tool in your life.
Yeah.
But you are using it as a tool for something else.
Exactly.
And so what does that help enable you to do? What do you put your energy towards? Why is it giving you so much avoidance? Like, what's that trauma coming from? So I think it's really important.
Because then you have your like hoarders, right? Who are like, they think it's so scarce, so they're like, no, I have to keep it all. And then they don't spend on anything.
Totally.
And then there are like the overspenders who are just like hemorrhaging money.
Absolutely.
So it's like, those are, I think, are like the three main archetypes. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but
yeah. No, those are the three. And then there's like a fourth kind of victim one.
Oh, interesting.
Or like the martyr archetype. Okay. I have different ones for Merge because they're more like couple oriented, which will come out soon. But the victim one is anything that happens from a monetary perspective is because they deserve it or they've called this upon them. And then the martyr is using money to be like as a tool for sacrifice or manipulation. Those are like smaller archetypes.
Crazy.
Yeah. Wow. But in financial, there's a lot of financial abuse, especially in partnership. And like the victim and the martyr are often used, which is interesting.
Wow. Yeah. So that makes sense that like the archetypes would change when they become in relation to one another. Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to you yourself as an individual. Yeah. Like I was certainly a hoarder because that was my context. I grew up in a household where money was tight. I was like, let me save this for a rainy day or for my family. And it's really hard to unlearn those things.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So how else am I adding what I'm learning into that? So language, the questions that I'm using is very important.
Okay.
And then there were modules, because there's a little bit of an education tech component. And there was like a linear path to those modules. And I realize now, after some conversations, that those paths aren't fair for people with different contexts. And so I'm creating an opportunity for people to like pick their modules where they still learn what they need to learn, but there's a nonlinear path based on your context or what you think is called to you to learn in that moment. So a lot of those things that you wouldn't think about just from a business lens, you know?
And so Nadine has interviewed like thousands or hundreds?
1,000.
1,000 couples.
Yeah.
So what were like your biggest takeaways talking to all of these people about money? Because obviously like a conversation about money is not about money. It's about like our childhood trauma around money and how our parents managed money and like all of these things, right? So what was like some of the biggest revelations that came out of these conversations with so many couples?
It's a good question. It's a hard one to answer. I think I need to like digest them all for everyone to read. But the first one is how you see the person that shares the same gender as you in a relationship use money is probably the most influential. So
interesting.
In my case, how I saw my mom use money or respond to money really resonated with me more so than my dad.
I completely agree with that.
Right?
Too,
like
in my life. Yeah.
You can relate to that. Yeah. And that came out in a lot of the interviews. Like
interesting.
I would ask, how did you see money being used? And depending on the person that I was talking to, they would often refer to their mother or their father, typically based on their gender.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I thought was really interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. And then when I would ask about their other parent in cases where, you know, they had a full household, it wasn't necessarily positive or it wasn't forefront in their mind.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So that was an interesting takeaway. Another takeaway was typically in intercultural relationships, money was actually easier to talk about.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because they're different.
Because you have to. Well, I mean, I'm just thinking of like Miguel and I.
Of course.
Like we talked about money really early on because I make dollars and he makes pesos, and I'm very much of the mind that, okay, we pay percentage based. Like we're not paying the same because I have the privilege of making dollars. So I'm going to pay like the percentage that makes sense for me to pay based on like how much I make versus how much you make in pesos. So like 50-50 does not exist in that context.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And that's a very mature, open conversation to have early on in a relationship.
That's true. Yeah.
But
well, because it had been a problem in a past relationship and I wanted to avoid that.
You learned from your mistakes.
I was like, we're going to start off with this because I don't want this to be an issue like it was in my last relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it typically was easier because you're not coming from the same place of comparison.
Yeah.
And so it actually brought you closer to talk about money because like in your culture, we would do this. Or like in my culture, we would do that. And so it became more of a sharing of context and experience as opposed to, hey, we're so different here.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And typically within people with the same ethnic background or grew up in the same places and context, it was harder to talk about money.
Because it's more like,
comparison.
you like assume the person shares your same values.
Exactly.
Because you are from the same like cultural context.
Exactly.
It's very interesting.
It was super interesting. Another interesting insight was around religion. So typically, people's belief systems, if you have similar belief systems, religiously or spiritually, you had less conflict around money.
Oh, I like that.
Me too. I thought it was beautiful.
I love that.
It's like if you're more aligned values-wise.
Yeah.
You had less issues with money. Like the conversations were less stark. They required less workshopping to get to the point. Like the solutions were a lot easier. So those are just like 3 of many insights that I've taken into the app and to Merge. But there were so many, and every couple is so vastly different. Yeah. Because every person is so vastly different. Like I talked to a couple, and all of it's anonymous, but I talked to a couple that had, trauma around Splitwise.
What?
Yeah, it was like fascinating to me. And it really changed the way I viewed Splitwise because her and her partner had been together forever and they were married and they decided to do 50-50. That was their situation. But he would pay for everything publicly because he wanted to be the masculine man.
That would piss me off.
I think it pissed her off too, but she wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
And
Because, like, I hate when I ask for the check here at restaurants and they bring it to Miguel and I'm like, why are you giving it to him?
yeah.
Because he has a penis?
Yeah. You don't know. You don't know our situation.
You don't know. And first of all, I'm the one who asked for it.
So give it to me.
So give it to me.
Like, I think people have their own presumptions that they make when they, give you the check or whatever. But this man felt like it was part of his masculinity to pay on his credit card. And then he would get all the points on his credit card.
Oh, yep.
And then immediately put the transaction splitwise.
Oh yeah, I understand where
so
she got upset.
Yeah, she's like, we just had a beautiful dinner. We had a beautiful time. We both agreed that we're 50-50.
And then it ended in this way that felt like
like, give me a second. We just had a cute dinner, babe.
Yeah. And then you get the notification.
Yeah. And she'd like wake up and there would be notifications because he was reconciling, their bills.
Oh man.
Which, I mean, from his perspective, I'm looking at it completely like intellectually and academically. Yeah. That was their agreement. Yeah. And that wasn't expressed to him. So he had no idea it was an issue. Yeah. And it was expressed in the confidence of our interview. Yeah. But after that interview, they had a conversation and they kind of figured that out. But she was like suffering in silence.
And they didn't realize this until you did the interview with them.
Yeah, she didn't realize it bothered her so much.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's wild.
It was really nice that we got to that point together. Yeah.
That's really, you're like a money therapist.
I love it. And I've worked with a lot of money therapists who, which I didn't know was a thing prior.
No, I didn't either. I know money coaches, but I've never.
Me neither, until this space. And they're amazing. They're like godsends.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really interesting. The psychology of money is really interesting.
It is really interesting.
Yeah, for us as individuals and for partners.
Yeah. So what kind of brought you into this world of like money and relationships? Did it have to do something with like Accenture or like something there kind of triggered this? Like you're like, did you see a gap that needed to be filled?
Yeah, I did.
Like when were you like made aware of like, oh, that would be really nice if this thing existed?
There are like 3 moments in my life that led up to this. My parents are separated. Mm-hmm. The separation of my parents was really difficult from a financial perspective. Mm-hmm. And that was like, oh, I saw my mom in that relationship. I saw my dad in that relationship. And I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. From like a trauma perspective. We don't need to relive that. So I saw that. And then when I was at Accenture, I was exposed to a lot of really high power women making a lot of money that were super successful in their fields, making money, particularly like my analyst cohort group. Yep. Like we started at the same time. Half of us were women. We would talk about these things. And everyone was talking about fights with their partner about money because they were making the equivalent or more than their partners. And I mean, I grew up in Toronto. So very open, progressive. Yeah. A lot of our partners were in similar spaces to us. Like some of us all worked in consulting. We all had similar educational backgrounds. And that was kind of confronting to be like, why are all my high power, successful women, badasses, fighting with their partners about money behind closed doors? Weird. Yeah. So then I looked at women in general, and they are just confronted with so much money trauma, financial abuse all the time, whether you're making money or not. Yep. So like any form of dependence or independence was not winning.
Yeah, I can see that.
In heterosexual relationships. And then the third thing was my relationship with my ex, and we were young when we got together, but money became an issue as we shared more of our life together. Like we moved in. We were thinking about, the next step. We had assets together, etc. And we would fight only about money. And I was like, okay, now I'm on the other side of it. Yeah. I've seen it happen with my parents. I saw it with my friends. And now I'm in it. Yeah. And I'm sure this is a gap worldwide. Yeah. And the world was becoming more global. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like meeting other people across the world. And that means different cultures, different contexts, different backgrounds. Women were participating more in the workplace. And I was like, this is something that is going to be
more conflicting.
Of an issue, yeah. More of an issue in gender norms. Yeah. And then I just saw the divorce rate rising. So I was like, is money an issue? Oh, 100%. And it is. Yeah. And like money and infidelity are the top 2 reasons. Wow. And infidelity sometimes is linked to money. Wow. That's wild. Yeah, it was crazy. So I was like, there's a gap here that I need to solve. I don't know how I'm going to solve it. And then I went through a couple iterations of what this looked like, but never actually did anything outside of my interviews. And then I was like, I just need to build some sort of platform that destigmatizes these conversations. And then we'll talk about money management and hopefully investing together or what that looks like. But first, let's tackle the conversation, because the conversation itself it's challenging. It's taboo.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were the 3 moments.
That's crazy.
I'm excited for you and Miguel to use it.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
And isn't that so like beautiful how looking back you can see how like everything was like tied together to like bringing it to this point.
Totally.
To like launch this thing that will change other people's lives for the good.
Hopefully.
Oh, it will.
I hope so. I think
we're planting that seed.
I love that. Thank you for planting that seed. Lolly is the best at being everyone's hype woman, which is such a beautiful quality.
Oh, thank you, boo-boo.
I mean it wholeheartedly. But I do think when you take a step back, and I'm going to say the C word again, but when
get your shots ready, people.
when you do act congruently, like you're able to take stock of every decision that you've made and how it's led you to the right path.
Yeah.
Even when you aren't acting incongruently, and then recognize that and are aware of that, you're like, this ain't my move. Like this is not how I want to be in this world, or like this is not the path.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be able to do that a couple times and take some big swings. Yeah. And we'll see.
And I think I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I think it's just as important to know what you don't want as it is to know what you want. Totally. Because so many times, like, let's say you have a failed relationship or you lose a job, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't it, but I still don't know what it is. It's like one is not more valuable than the other. Like, they're just as valuable to know, like, that's not the way as to know this is the way.
Absolutely. Because it's a process of elimination too.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, you can't know until you know, right?
Totally.
So like people will beat themselves up like, oh my God, like the sunk cost fallacy of like, oh, I just spent like 3 years in that relationship, or like 3 years on this dead end job, or whatever it may be. And be like, I can't believe I invested that much time and I'm here. But it's like, no, it's great that you invested that time, because like you got to know what you don't want your life to look like, which will then help push you in the way of like, what do I want my life to look like?
Absolutely. I always someone said this to me recently at work. She was like, more is more. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And it's just like more information is just more clarity in your life. And whether it's a no or a yes, it's still more information for that clarity. So more is I'm taking that with me into 2026. But yeah, if you know that it's not it, then you know more information for you to make a clearer path, right? Yeah. So it's a blessing. I stayed at Accenture for 8 years.
Damn.
That's a long time.
100-hour weeks.
Yeah.
8 years.
And I loved it. I hated it. Like, I was confronted with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, I had never felt disenfranchised for being a woman before being in corporate Canada.
Ugh.
Never in my life. I always felt like I was supremely aware of my identity as a Palestinian all my life. Mm-hmm. But I grew up in a household where, like, my parents were like, you can do anything and you will do anything. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, cool. No one's ever, for being a girl or a woman. Yeah. And then I'd go to work and I'm like, someone called me dear at the office and I lost my shit. Yeah. Oh, no. In a meeting.
Oh, no.
He's like, dear, that's wrong. And it was right.
And I would have been like, dear, actually, I would have deared him back.
I yelled at him. I didn't handle it well. I was 21. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
I wasn't well equipped.
Well, dear, actually, if you look at page 55, no.
I was like, that is the most condescending thing I've ever heard in my life. My manager was like, we can handle that better next time. You're not wrong, but better.
But honestly, though, like, you deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I learned a ton there.
Yeah.
And I learned where I don't want to work.
Yeah. Yep.
And I learned who I want to surround myself with and who I don't want to surround myself with. So, the no is just as valuable.
Yeah. You were like, I don't want to be in corporate. I don't want to be in one place.
Yeah.
I don't want people calling me dear to be my colleagues.
Please. Especially not one who's like 2 years older than me. That's absurd behavior.
No. I was thinking like an old man.
I wish it were an old man, because then I'd be like, oh, that's endearing.
You're just dumb and old. Okay, no.
No, it was, and the numbers were right. Like, if the numbers were wrong, then I would have walked away with my tail between my legs. But I yelled at him and I was red. And I'm beige, so like it was weird. But Yeah, all that to say the no is just as valuable
Yeah.
as the yes. And we change and we grow. So
Yeah.
what was a yes might be a no later.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right? Like
Yeah.
your path changes,
Yeah.
you change, you grow, you have more context. I don't know what like 2 years from now will look like.
Yeah. Like just allow space for the no.
Totally. And that again comes with a lot of privilege and
Oh,
gratitude,
100%.
right? Like that we can do that and
Yeah.
follow this path. And I'm hyper aware of it
Yeah.
and feel immensely responsible to use it for good.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So what is your hope with both the work that you're doing now, and also for Merge once it launches? Like what would be like the ideal scenario of where this goes for you?
It's a good question because I think the ideal scenario is different than it was like 6 months ago.
Ooh, can you share both?
Yeah, because like 6 months ago, I would have wanted to do Merge full time.
Okay.
And I wanted it to blow up and become a very successful business that's grounded in like real impact for communities, etc. Now, because I'm doing such value aligned work, I need to figure out what that next goal is. Like, how do I want Merge to be successful, and can it live alongside this thing that I worked so hard for, which is like ethical income?
Yep.
That's directly supporting Palestine and movements I care about. So I need to rethink about what that looks like. But ideally, in the first 3 months, it's like I have an awesome wait list of people that want to use Merge. They've used it. It's impactful. I have feedback. And then I can reorient after that. And then stay on the path with Chuffed.
Yeah.
But ideally, I'd love to be able to offer this to Palestinian women who, you know, they're in like the most dire situations ever and haven't even had the time to dream or think about finances. And so
what is survival? You can't.
Totally.
Yeah.
And occupation before like this genocide, you don't have an opportunity to dream and think about like what you can do. And so I'd love to use Merge as a platform to teach people about their own financial empowerment and like what they can do in this world and how their hobbies and education and dreams can lead them to something.
Yeah, only almost having like a nonprofit arm of Merge.
Yeah, or like a foundation or an accelerator for like Palestinian businesses.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's maybe the goal, but we'll see in 3 months.
Well, yeah, I mean, it will change, you know, especially once it's at the beginning. Like when I first started my business, it was completely different. It was just like an online course. That was it. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Totally.
And now it's like completely transformed into something where I'm offering like different programs and I'm always coming up with like new offers and new ideas, but I've allowed like a space, like a playground where I can actually like continue to create. So, yeah.
Which is so congruent to you, right? Like if your business had stayed in the way that you initially launched it, it would have been stifling for you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been serving the community in the way that you are now.
Yeah.
Like by offering all these services, these workshops, like so many offerings.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks different than you initially planned. And it'll look different tomorrow.
Yeah. I think it's really important to allow like your business to grow with you.
Yeah.
But like make sure foundationally like you're creating a space where it can.
Absolutely.
Because so many times we like have like such a structure in mind when we launch a business that we don't allow that room for growth. But like if we know that we're going to grow as people, we need to also create businesses that will, you know, kind of allow us to grow in them and allow those businesses to grow with us.
Absolutely. I think like the best things come out of pivots.
Yeah.
And as we grow. And so if you allow a foundation that grows when you grow and not consider pivot a failure.
Yeah. That's true. That's very
beautiful.
True. A lot of people think like, oh, my initial idea didn't work, so it was a failure. It's like, no. It's just like you're still playing. Like allow play, allow exploration, because it's going to find like the shape it needs to take to serve the people it needs to serve.
Exactly. Because more is more and the no matters.
Yeah.
Like if you had to pivot because it wasn't working, then that's amazing information.
Yeah.
For you to play, to find something else, to grow. And yeah, I think we need to be flexible with that for sure.
We need to like reframe it from failure into, and it doesn't even mean like that initial idea needs to die. Like maybe you need to build other layers on top of it for people to find that first thing. Right? So it's like, it doesn't mean it's like you completely have to scrap everything.
Exactly.
It just means like create more walls around that first wall that you like constructed to like build your house.
I love this house analogy. Make sure the architecture is good, you know? I like that. I like the house analogy for sure. And I think it's useful for anything we do in life, not just businesses or projects, like who you decide to be friends with, like the things you do in your spare time. Like, allow yourself to grow, to breathe, to learn, to change.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, around community, friendships, romantic
Absolutely.
relationships, whatever it may be. Like, it's going to ebb and flow.
I mean, I hope
Don't beat
so.
yourself up if something doesn't work out the way you wanted it to.
Easier said than done, because, you know.
That's true. That's true.
But, like, take a minute, breathe, feel what you want to feel, because we're allowed to do those things. And then let's respin it and reframe it.
Yeah. And especially now that we're about to leave the year of the snake and enter the year of the horse, it's like definitely that energy too.
I know.
Of like shedding the last things that we need to shed so that we can now enter into this like year of action, more aligned and able to take the steps that we need to take.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this year.
Me
and
too.
It's the fire horse. It's not just any horse.
It's my horse.
It's your horse. Are you a horse?
No, but I'm fired.
Well said.
Also, fun fact, when I was little, I wanted to be a horse. So I would literally, I thought I was Black Stallion. I don't know if anybody used to watch that when they were little.
didn't.
Oh my God. It was my favorite film. And so I would play horse and I would literally have people tie me to trees.
Really?
And I would neigh. And literally when we were like, we would go to this ranch every weekend. And people literally be like, oh, it's just Black Stallion. Like they would see a child tied to a tree.
they would know?
And I would be neighing. And they'd be like, oh, it's just Black Stallion.
That's so funny.
So like I do have like horse energy and I have fire energy. So
You definitely have fire energy.
my year of the fire horse.
This is your year, babe. This is your year for sure. That's so funny. I'm going to watch Black Stallion.
Yeah.
And
and there's Black Beauty too.
Of course.
She's like the female, you know. And then Black Stallion is the male. Anyways.
Okay, please add that link to the podcast. So
I'll
everyone
add
can
those.
listen.
I'll add those films. I literally haven't watched them as an adult, so I do not know if they have aged well. They're probably terrible. But I just, the horses were so pretty. And I was like, oh my God, such beautiful creatures. I'm going to play that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Horses are beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, when I played basketball all my life.
Yeah.
And they used to call me Nadine. Because
So we're both.
was a horse in the post, you know. I would
Oh my
kill
God,
it.
I love
would
this.
jump on people, like they're like, oh, she's galloping again, you know.
Oh my God, we're both horses.
This is our year.
It's our year.
We're aligned.
So now we're gonna change our conquering goals. We'd have to conquering horse goals.
Yeah, duh.
Yes, I love that.
I love that for us. No, it's exciting. I hope other people are feeling excited about it, because I know that kind of energy it's fast and furious, you know. So you got to be ready for it, to take it by the horns.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to find you online or find Merge, where can they do that?
You can find Merge at mergeapp.io.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, feel free to connect with me as well. I'm happy to send the links to Lolly, put in the chat. And then if you want to support any movements and want to support Chuffed, looking to figure out where you put your money or start a campaign or need support on that, I'm happy to help with that too. I think that would be really great.
Yeah, we'll put links to that.
Thanks for this platform.
Oh my God, thank you so much for joining me.
This was my favorite conversation.
Yay!
Which I didn't doubt for a second. Although I was nervous, Lolly knows.
I know. So cute. I love it. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you on the next one. Ciao.
Thank you.